Hey guys, Elle here. This is Mariska Hargitay. This is her favorite tarot deck. She loves the Prairie Tarot. Say hi. Say hi, Rishka. Alright, you hang out for a sec, babe. So, I have a cool review for you guys. That's right, it is the Prairie Tarot. So, I've had this deck for quite a while. It came out back in 2011. It was originally available as only a majors only deck before that. And then around 2011, Robin Ator, A-T-O-R, released the full 78 card deck, and it is a amazing, beautiful Rider-Waite-Smith tradition deck. And you can still get your hands on it very, very easily. I will link below to the creator's website. It's glowinthedarkpictures.com, and they're going for about 25 bucks. Not too bad, huh? What are you doing, Rishka? All right, say goodbye. Hi, everybody. Bye, Mommy. So it's a self-published deck. It comes in this really nice box. That's what the strength card looks like. There's some images. It's like a two-piece box. The whole thing opens up this way, and that is what the backs of the cards look like. It is a 79 card deck. And this is the 79th card that you get. Instead of like a happy squirrel or anything, you get the jackalope. How cool is that? I'm obsessed with this deck, guys. It's such a fun, happy, cool deck. And the theme is just amazing. Like, how cool is that? There's very few decks that are, sort of Americana decks. And this one is specifically like an Old West deck. Now, the creator says that the time period for this deck is sort of roughly 1875 to like 1910. It's the end of the West. It's that's the heart I keep on there, isn't that perfect? But it's that time period between the end of the Indian Wars and the Civil War and the modern era. So you've got cowboys and settlers and fortune tellers and Native American shamans and hunters and and lots of big skies. Here, I'm going to talk more as we sort of go through the deck. There again are the backs. They are basically reversible. After you've worked with it for a little bit, you can sort of tell, like, I know that is upright right now. There's little nicks on the wood and stuff that give it away, but it's basically, more or less completely reversible. And there's your Fool. So they all have this sort of, I don't really want to call it a comic book style. There's a bit of a cartooniness to it. There's maybe more of a lightheartedness. It's not really silly or anything. It's still really a deep deck. It's kind of amazing. I remember reading, he said when he was creating this deck, look at the magician, that he was really just creating it for himself, out of his own experiences for himself, growing up in Montana. And this was the kind of stories that he'd hear growing up. The settlers came to the area, and then all this sort of wildlife and imagery that he had for himself, and vistas growing up in Montana. And it really is so evocative of that. You really feel like you're there with this deck. I know I mentioned during my like tarot collection videos. See how Rider-Waite-Smith these are, by the way? They're really, really evocative. Love this deck. But yeah, I mentioned during my tarot collection video how this transports me back to when I was a kid and we would take these family trips. We really just took a couple to Colorado, and this makes me feel like I'm there. It feels spiritual. That's what I remember feeling there with the landscapes, with the mountains and that fresh air and seeing the Milky Way and the stars for the very first time. It was a magical time for me, and this sort of brings me back there, and that's one of the things that I just love about it. Justice. Look at this hermit, y'all. Oh my god. The artwork isn't something that if I had just sort of seen this artwork that I would have that I might have necessarily been drawn to, but the deck on whole and the way every card, look at how it's a rainbow around the middle too. There's, without going to an occult, you know, symbolism here, although you have the lemniscate up there, how cool is that? You know, there's still an awful lot of evocative symbolism here. That's your hanged man here. He's not upside down, but it still feels like a willing sacrifice, you know? I feel like this deck, too, it could have gone to, I don't know, sort of a racist place. It's an interesting time and subject matter that's sort of being covered here, you know? That clash of cultures. But it never, ever crosses a line at all. Look at this temperance! How cool is that? And he's like an alchemist. Temperance. So Robin Ator, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing the last name there, it's Ator, also has a couple of other tarot decks out that you can still purchase at the website too. He's got, excuse me, one called the International Icon Tarot. And what that one does, I think it's really neat, is it sort of simplifies the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot. All his decks are very Rider-Waite-Smith. Look at that star. The International Icon simplifies the Rider-Waite-Smith, but what it does is it uses what he called those international isotype signs, you know, like the ones you see on bathroom signs where it's like those stick figure people almost. It's cool what happens in the deck then, you know, there's no gender or ethnic biases. It's really interesting. And then his other deck is called the Ator Tarot, and that's sort of a cartoony Rider-Waite-Smith. I've been letting you guys stare at that card for a while, huh? But that's like one of my favorite cards, like, in the world. Look at that moon card. Isn't that amazing? The colors and the cactuses and the big moon. Oh, it's just beautiful. And there's your sun card. A little baby cowboy. There's Judgment. Look at that sunset. They really just captured something with this deck. And there's your world card. And the animals and stuff you use are so perfect. You got a buffalo, and was it a mountain lion? And a eagle or a hawk? It's a bald eagle. And a shaman or a drummer shaman Native American dude. Very cool, right? Alright, on into our minors. Here's your Ace of Wands. As you could see there before, there's no titles really. He never specifically lists wands or what the suit names are, and the major arcana are completely unnumbered, so you can order them however you would like to order them. There's your Three of Wands. I'm going to call them wands. So the black borders, I think, are just perfect. I know several people have trimmed their decks, but black borders really very rarely bother me, and they're not that big. The other thing I love here, too, is that he made the whole entire deck almost look like an old Western deck of playing cards with, you know, the type of font that he used, and then on every single card, whether it's a court card or a major arcana, it's listed on the reverse upright too, like that, so you can read the reversal. But you can always tell when it's reversed because the images are not reversible on any cards. Look at that. Aren't they super? Look at that, super Rider-Waite-Smith. This is the kind of deck that you open up and you can just read with it right out of the box. I love the rainbow wands. I think that's such a cool little touch. Look at that. They all just scream Rider-Waite. It's great. There's your Ten of Wands. And your courts. You do have male pages, I think, for all the pages. Not my favorite, but like I said, I love this deck. I don't care. There's your Queen of Wands. She's got her cat down there. And your King. Alright, on into the cups. Ace of Cups. Look at it's a bird feeder. There's your Two of Cups. Some of the clothing and stuff just screams Civil War. it really, it's like a period deck, you know, like how I love those older decks, the Renaissance ones, and the neoclassic and the Victorian decks, and this one really gives me that same feeling. Like it feels like a legit old deck in a lot of ways. Even though it doesn't have anything aged about it, it certainly has the ability to transport you. It's a good storytelling kind of a deck. Here's your Seven of Cups. Isn't that great? This one always sort of surprised me, this deck, that it's not more popular. I actually couldn't find, I found one other sort of review of it on YouTube, and just a handful on some other websites. I remember when this guy sort of came out and I thought it was going to be a huge. I'm not sure why it's not. I know a lot of people have it, but yeah, you don't see it too often. I guess you sort of have to have, you know, a love of this sort of time period and an old Western kind of thing to really appreciate the deck, to appreciate these kind of decks. And there's your Queen. And I got them out of order. And there's your King. Look at this big old dog down there. It looks like a classic portrait, you know, that you'd see hanging on the wall in an old house. And there's your Ace of Swords. It sort of feels like cowboy comics a little bit, right? I freaking love it. Oh, just so you guys know too, there's a Fool's Dog app available for this deck. It does not come with a little white book or any sort of reference material at all. You just get the cards and the box with this deck. But I mean, it certainly isn't necessary. You know, any book about Rider-Waite-Smith will sort of cover the basic meanings of the cards and the basic symbolism, because you still pretty much have all the Rider-Waite-Smith symbolism here. There's your Seven of Swords. There's even Fool's Dog apps for his other two decks also, the Ator Tarot and the International Icon Tarot. Oh, that Fool's Dog, they have so many cool apps now, don't they? There's your Six of Swords. Can you see that back there? Cool, right? Still going across the water. And, oh, check this one out, guys. That's the Ten of Swords. No dead person, a dead buffalo. But does that Ten of Swords look a little familiar to you? Oh, I should have pulled out my Wild Unknown Tarot. I don't have it handy with me right now, but the Ten of Swords looks eerily familiar to this. It's also a dead buffalo. How interesting is that? Now, just so y'all know, this deck did come out a couple of years before the Wild Unknown. So this buffalo came first. I doubt that was swiped from this deck or anything, but it's an interesting coincidence. I'll take a picture and put it up on my Instagram later so you guys can see a side-by-side of those two cards. That was the first thing that struck me when I got the Wild Unknown. I was like, oh, another dead buffalo. There's your Knight of Swords and your Queen of Swords and your King. Alright, on into our last suit, the suit of coins or pentacles. Like I said, it doesn't have it written anywhere. I mean, talk about friggin' big sky country. Look at that. Like, I want to be standing there and breathing that air right now. I love it. Oh, isn't that a cool card? That's your Two of Coins. Cool friggin' rattlesnake, right? The color choices, I think, are just so smart and pretty. You can, by the way, he does have images of every single card up on the website also. So if you want to get a closer look or a longer look at any of these cards, really, head on over there. Perfect for the Four of Coins, right? Look at that guy. Love him. It's a lock on that box. Can you see that? And here's your Five of Coins. You can feel how cold it is out there, right? Here's your 6 of coins. The coins in this deck are so cool. Look, like they look like real old US money. Isn't that neat? Maybe they really are. They look like it. And your 7 of coins, your farmer. Your 8 of coins. There's your 9, your woman with her bird. Can you imagine having to wear that sort of clothes all the time as a woman? I can't. It looks painful, some of these outfits. Here's your 10. And your last quartz. Here's your page of coins. There's your knight of coins. God damn, I love me some cowboys. I was going to be a cowboy when I was younger. Or a cowgirl. That was sort of my goal in life for a little while. Then I realized I was allergic to horses, however. Yeah, I'd make a bad cowboy. There's your king of coins. Great, right? Back to our fool. So I do have a Rider-Waite-Smith card here just to show you a little size comparison. They are more or less your basic tarot size. They're just ever so slightly taller. Can you see that? Just that teensy little bit. And the card stock, they're maybe a little bit thinner than your Centennial Rider-Waite-Smith, but they are good card stock. I did edge this deck. That's why the edges are black. I just used a regular Sharpie for this guy. And they do have a bit of a gloss finish. Can you see that? Whenever you have black cards too, I feel like it shows up a little bit of those fingerprints, but this one really isn't too bad. Not like the Marielle with that super high glossy back where it really does show sort of everything. This one's not quite that bad. But it's a nice coating on the cards. And I'll do a real quick shuffle. They shuffle beautifully. Really nicely, actually. They really do. Yeah, they're freaking perfect. And I adore this deck, guys. Ta-da! And that was the Prairie Tarot. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.